Hey guys, this is Joe Deckelmeyer with Screen Rant at Comic-Con 2023. I am with Gareth Edwards from The Creator, director and writer from The Creator. I am so excited for this movie. I saw the trailer for it and I was blown away. I know that you had a panel earlier today about it, and that's the one thing I missed out on, is going to that panel because I was in here.
What were you doing?
Doing other interviews. But you know, here we are, and now I want to talk about this movie. Can you talk about creating this sci-fi world?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, there's so much to say about it. I got one reason I wanted to make this film is very, very strange one, is that I was in Thailand. Basically, I hate writing films. It's like doing homework. It's the worst thing in the world, right? But you have to do it. And so the way I do it is I go, okay, I'm going to go to a really nice resort and I'm going to not leave until I finish. And so I went to this place in Thailand I just wanted to go to, and wrote this script, and it was a science fiction thing. And then I got this text off Jordan Vogt-Roberts, who's the director of Skull Island. And he was in Vietnam, just over the border. And he was like, hey, you should come over. It's all really, you know, I'll show you around. It's really cool and everything. And I was like, oh, what? I guess there's no excuse. I'll just go, right? So I go over there and we end up touring all of Vietnam and seeing everything. And you can't help but, you know, see all that imagery from, like, you know, the Vietnam War, and you think of films like Apocalypse Now and all that. And we were in these paddy fields in the absolute middle of nowhere. And I still had this science fiction thing in my head. And I just kept watching everybody and just turning them into a robot and going, oh my God, this is really cool. Like, you know, there'd be like Buddhist monks in temples and you just picture them as robots, and I'd go, what is going on here? And it was this kind of hybrid visual between, like, the fastest way to explain it to anyone was like as if someone made Apocalypse Now in the Blade Runner universe. And I felt like that's a DVD missing on my shelf.
Yes.
Whatever that movie is. And so then it was like, go figure out that movie, you know.
That is incredible. That is so. But he was in Vietnam just by chance, or was that planned?
He's like the Peter Jackson of Vietnam. He's kind of like they. And I heard this and I thought, this is bullshit. And I'm not joking. We were in the middle of nowhere. We're in this paddy field in the north of Vietnam, in these limestone cliffs, totally on our own, in this boat. And this little old lady comes in a boat. She was like a fisherwoman coming past us. She looked like she was 100 years old, and she was just pushing like this. And she just looked and she pointed at Jordan and went, King Kong, like this. I was like, no fucking way. Like, you must have paid this lady, right? And like, he's a god over there. So
that's incredible. Now, AI is a major part of this movie, and it's so relevant right now. What inspired that decision? I mean, I guess it would be this trip to Thailand, but what inspired that decision, and how we look at AI, and what do you want people to take away from that?
I've always loved robots. You know, I've always wanted to make a film with robots in them. But it started off as an allegory, a fairy tale, for people who are different, you know, that look different from us, and that we treat as the kind of the enemy or the inferior, and that they do the same back to us. And so it started off as like a nice device like that for setting a story.
Sure.
But then the second you start to put AI into anything, these really fascinating, fucked up questions. Can I swear?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want, Gareth.
start to rise to the surface, and like, you know, things like, are they real? How would you know? Does it matter? Sure. What if you want we turn them off? What if they didn't want to be turned off? And all this sort of stuff was like, and it all sort of infected the movie and made it extra interesting. And I thought I was making a subject matter that was like 3 decades away. Like, there's no way we're going to witness this. Maybe in my life I won't witness this. And then whilst we were filming, people sending me little links to like news items about whistleblowers in big tech.
Yes.
Saying that the AI was sentient and all this sort of stuff. And it was like, whoa, what's going on? You know?
I spent a day going down that rabbit hole myself because I read an article about how Google has a sentient AI as well. And I'm not going to lie, it did freak me out quite a bit, because I, like you, thought that we were generations away from that. And I feel like it's right on the doorstep of where we are.
It's mainly the reason I made this film is that when there is the robo apocalypse and they kill all of humanity, they're going to spare me because I understand them, you know? So
yeah, I'm a goner. I'm very aware of that. I want to ask about the cameras you shot on, the Sony FX3.
Yes.
Now these are like just regular cameras you can get from like Best Buy, right?
You can get them from Best Buy, yeah.
Talk to me about using those cameras for this film.
Look, this has been a long time coming. This is not like some weird thing that sneaked up on us. Digital technology, as we all know, gets better and better and better and better.
Yeah.
And there's film, which is like the benchmark of great imagery in cinema, and it's just going up like this. And the difference between the top greatest digital cine camera you can buy and a camera like this, the FX3, is minute, like hardly anything. And the big upside to the cameras we used was, for those who can remember using film in a camera, you would get different ratings for how light or dark a scene was. And if you're filming in daylight, you'd have 100 ISO, 100 ASA. I don't know if anyone remembers that. And when it was dark, you could get film that was 80 ISO, which meant it would be you'd be able to get a little bit more light in the camera. Well, these cameras do 12,800 ISO, and so they can shoot under moonlight and still see. And so it meant suddenly you don't need a million massive lights. Like you guys have got them here. Like you've got LED lights, right? They're not massive. They're very bright. We decided, just like you have boom operators holding a pole with a microphone, we had a boom operator with the light. And as I would move the camera around, like because the actor would do something interesting and suddenly you'd find a better composition over here, the person holding the boom, Nancy, she would just move as well. And we'd do a little dance together. And so like we were relighting like in real time.
Oh, wow.
But normally that stuff would take like half an hour.
Yeah.
And so it just liberated us completely. And I'm never going to go back, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, no, it was great.
That's amazing. Now, talk to me about some of the characters we're going to meet in The Creator, like John David Washington's Joshua.
Yeah, so basically, John David plays a character called Joshua, and he's a ex-special forces guy. What's going on in the world, just to set up the movie, if you want me to do this?
Yes, please.
So something terrible happened, right? And the world, the Western world banned artificial intelligence, decided it's not a good thing, we don't want it, get rid of it from everything. In Asia, they were like, no such problem, let's carry on. And they developed it more and more to the point where it was like human-like sentience.
Right.
And so essentially this war is going on over in Asia with America and the West trying to destroy and wipe out AI. And John David's character is basically, spoiler alert, so just skip ahead if you don't want to know anything. But John David's character is undercover at the start of the movie, trying to infiltrate this terrorist cell of AI to find the creator. And the creator is the genius, like the Robert Oppenheimer of AI, who like on one side of the fence is public enemy number one, like Osama bin Laden, like the West wants to kill them. And from the other perspective is God, is the reason AI exists, and they all worship and would do anything to protect them. And nobody knows who this person is. And so John David's character is basically trying to find out who the creator is and locate them. That's kind of the opening of the movie.
Ooh, that sounds incredible. I can't wait.
So the opening scene is like what I wanted it to be was like the night SEAL Team 6 come if you're at Osama bin Laden's house, but in an AI world.
That sounds amazing. Now, you'd had a panel earlier today, and you debuted some footage. I know that was exclusively for the people that were there in Hall H. Can you talk about some of the footage you debuted?
Yeah, I guess the simplest way to summarize it is in the trailer. You see lots of different things. One of them is these giant tanks. It was a whole set piece from that. Was the fastest way to. And then we also played Hans Zimmer. We used a track from the film and did a little sizzle kind of trailery thing at the end.
That's fantastic. Now, you've made one of my favorite modern-day Star Wars movies of all time, Rogue One. I think it's absolutely incredible. Can you talk to me about what you learned from that experience that you wanted to take over to the creator?
You learn a lot, I guess. I think the thing that Star Wars does so well that is incredibly useful, especially for this movie, was Star Wars is very mythical. People describe it as science fiction, and it's the easiest way to explain Star Wars, but it's not really accurate because yes, there's robots, and spaceships, but it's not. It's got more in common with a fairy tale, with a biblical epic, a samurai film, whatever. It's like a lot of things from the past. Like it's kind of like everything from hundreds, thousands of years ago, Mixed with stuff from the future, like
Right.
spaceships and robots, and nothing in the middle, like nothing today. There's nothing contemporary about Star Wars, right? It's ancient and it's futuristic, and nothing in between. And so for me, that's kind of how I experienced when I would travel to Asia, and they have like the two things that hit you the most is this spirituality
Yeah.
of like the temples, the Buddhism or the Hinduism or whatever, and then these like mega futuristic sci-fi looking cities. And I love that juxtaposition. And so when we were doing the film, everything we had in the movie is old
Right.
or futuristic. Like even the vehicles, like, whenever we picked out a car or something to be in the background, it always picked something from the 70s or 60s.
Really?
And initially it's like, why are you doing that? It felt weird, but in the movie it feels right. It's kind of, because when you go around Asia, there will be like an electric car here, but just to the right will be someone who's like hot rodded, their moped still. It's still managed, some farmer that's still got it working on plowing the land somehow, and it's like from 1960s or whatever. And so that weird like combo, I love all that stuff.
Yeah, I went to Chiang Mai and I saw a lot of that as well when I did a little traveling around there, and it's one of the most fascinating and coolest places I think I've ever been in the world. It's beautiful. Now, what are your thoughts on Andor, and how does that match up with what your thoughts of Cassian's backstory was?
Okay, full disclosure, we finished the film on Friday. I have not seen it.
Really?
I've not seen any TV. I've not seen any of the Disney Plus anything. I tell you, the only thing that I've seen is the ILM documentary, The Light of Magic, which is a phenomenal documentary. If you see it, but I haven't had a chance. I'm sure I'll get back to you about it. But I saw the trailer when it came out. We were shooting at Pinewood at the time, and it looked fantastic. It's in obviously very great hands, and I'm excited for everybody that's involved. And
That's incredible. Look, the creator, I can't wait for this film. When I saw the trailer, my jaw was on the floor because I love sci-fi movies, and I think you do such a phenomenal job at it. And like I said, AI is such a relevant thing that we're into now, and I just can't wait for it, Gareth. Thanks so much for your time, man.
Thanks.
I appreciate it.